Guys, what's going on? Coach Brian here, criticalbench.com. Shoulder flexibility and mobility, one of the most important things anybody can have for overall good health. And if you're a lifter and you like to lift up your upper body, you gotta have good shoulder mobility. So exactly what is shoulder mobility? It's just that you're having movement, good, clean, quality movement within your shoulder in all ranges of motion. But how do you know if you have good or bad shoulder mobility? Answer is simple. You gotta take a test. You gotta put yourself through an assessment. Basic, very simple yet effective test that you can do is just a back scratch test. You're gonna reach one hand up, reach the bottom hand behind the back, and trying to touch the fingertips together. Trying to touch them together here, trying to touch them together here. Ideally, you wanna make sure your hands, your fingertips are touching. Now that might be very challenging for some people. And what you might also find is pain and also maybe some asymmetries on one side to the other. So one side might be here, other side might be here. You wanna make sure that both sides are balanced. Now you might have a torn rotator cuff, you might have some bone issues. The main thing is you wanna be balanced on both sides and have good mobility. So that's a very basic test that you can do on your own. So exactly what does that test show? Like I just said, it can show joint range of motion limitations, it can show asymmetries from one side to the other, but it also can just show just plain simple lack of flexibility. Now, most of you, I know most of you squat, but what does shoulder mobility have to do with squats? It's got everything to do with squats. So think about it. You got the bar on your shoulders, but your hands are out here just because you can't keep your hands in here and actually do a squat. Why is that? It's because you have poor shoulder mobility. So poor shoulder mobility equals a poor squat. If you have good mobility in your shoulders, you're gonna have a good squat. So there are two positions to put the bar on your shoulders, high position, low bar position. If you put the bar in the low bar position and you have poor shoulder mobility, you're just gonna absolutely destroy the bicep where it inserts at the humerus there. So got to have good shoulder mobility. Even for the high bar position, you're never going to get a good high bar position if you have poor shoulder mobility. So a lot of people that squat, they say, oh, my shoulders are killing me. What I always get them doing is loosening up their thoracic spine. The thoracic spine is that middle part of the back that a lot of people don't know how to train, but also they don't know how to just stretch out and release. So the thoracic spine is, again, the middle of the spine, right below the cervical column, right above the lumbar column. Thoracic spine is so important for the squat that if you don't have mobility in the thoracic spine, you're going to get yourself in trouble. And it's just pretty much a movement in general. You got to have good mobility in that spine. So what do we recommend for increasing shoulder or thoracic spine mobility? One thing that you always have to incorporate in your training is the thoracic spine extension on a foam roller. So we'll go to the floor here. So thoracic spine here. Put in the roller, dead center of the spine, arching back, rolling up. That's it. Extending the spine. Now if you want to take it even a step further, put your hands behind your back. A lot of people don't even have any type of flexibility or mobility in their spine. So this will be challenging in as itself. But I guarantee you incorporate this every day before you lift, you'll feel better. Especially if you sit at a desk, you're gonna be sitting like this where you're in a rounded position. So what you need to do is open up that. So again, for all the squatters out there, you gotta make sure you have good thoracic extension of that spine, because when you squat, you can't round your back like this. That's just a recipe for disaster. So you gotta have good thoracic extension so you're able to keep that bar up, okay? Hopefully that makes sense and you'll understand once you start getting into that position again. So now that we've rolled out our thoracic spine, you gotta just do some self-myofascial release. So what that looks like, get my lacrosse ball here, is using a lacrosse ball or again, foam roller, using the foam roller here to apply pretty much pressure on the shoulder socket, shoulder girdle, and all the musculature around it. So before you do any type of lifting, after your thoracic extension on the roller, grab a foam or lacrosse ball, a tennis ball, racket ball, some kind of ball that you can apply direct pressure on. So what does that look like? I'm going to apply, what I like to do is get on the floor, roll around on this, using the ball, kind of knead out any aches, pains, things like that. But what you're going to do is apply pressure down. That's going to send biofeedback, a stronger connection between the brain and the muscle. Do that for about 5 minutes each side. If you don't have one of these, you can use one of these. Do the same thing. Roll around, move your arm in different positions, and pretty much just roll the snot out of the shoulder just to get it warmed up, get fresh blood in that area, wake up those nerve endings, things like that. Now, not only will that get you warmed up, but that will also help increase range of motion and mobility in the shoulder. Okay, so now that we've warmed up the shoulders, even if you have tight shoulders or not tight shoulders, anybody and everybody should warm up their shoulders. So next, we're going to go into mobility exercises, increasing range of motion within the shoulder. So mobility is just quality movement. Everybody can move, but you need to know how to move well. So before you get into the stretching to increase the flexibility, you got to increase the movement to increase the flexibility. And mobility is just that movement. You got to move the target area. So since we're focusing on the shoulders, there's a couple exercises that I recommend that you do to increase the mobility in your shoulders. One can be done just doing simple pull-throughs. Now, if this is too easy, move your hands in a little closer. Do the same thing. Okay? Now, if that's still too difficult, what you can do, resistance band. Start narrow and then go wide as you need to, okay? Now, what a lot of people that have shoulder mobilities, they'll be doing some weird stuff like this, off balance, in order to get their shoulders, get their arms around the shoulders. They might even, trust me, you'll see some weird stuff if you have shoulder limitations. The main thing is you want to do this slow and controlled, keeping it, again, focused on the shoulders and nothing else. Another thing you can be doing is some ball rollouts. So you'll be getting down on the ground here, elbows on top of the ball, extending out. Again, look at my middle back. I'm extending my thoracic spine. In other words, I'm sticking my butt out, reaching out as far as I can with my elbows. And then once I get in that far position, extend, excuse me, extend your arms, curl your arms. So in case you didn't know, the shoulder has a direct relationship with your latissimus dorsi, your lats. So if your lats are tight, you're going to have a hard time extending and curling your arms. So just by doing that movement in an extended, retracted or protracted position, you're going to feel a lot of tension on the lat. All right, so we just did our rollouts. Next thing we're going to do is a dumbbell unilateral twist. You're going to twist simultaneously, but one palm is going to be up, one palm is going to be down. Show you from the side. Okay, doesn't look like much, but again, if you have any shoulder limitations, that's going to be a killer, because what that arm is doing, it's my arm rotating, my shoulder is rotating, not my arm. So the ball and socket, the ball of my humerus is up into the socket of my shoulder. So now what I'm doing is I'm turning and rotating, okay? So that ball is actually twisting back and forth. It's kind of hard to do, but you want to make sure all the movement's coming from your shoulders. So do that a couple times each side, maybe 5 reps in a row. Start light because, again, your arm has to hold up the dumbbells to rotate back and forth. So now we'll transition over to some stretches that actually, now that we're in a mobile position, you want to stretch out which we just moved. So we're going to get back to the ball doing some external rotation stretches for, obviously, the shoulders. So this one, you want to make sure that your wrist stays up the entire time. Now what I'm doing is trying to lower my elbow, but also lower my chest down, keeping my shoulder up. You'll see what I mean. Okay? I'm trying to apply a lot of torque onto that arm. No, I'm not in this position here because I'm not stretching out. Keeping both shoulders pointed towards the ground. And I'm trying to sink this elbow down into the ground while this wrist stays up. So essentially it'll look like this. Now the ball is applying pressure this way to externally rotate the arm. Now we need to work on internal rotation of the arm, so we're going to get back on the floor. This time we're on our side. Elbow stays flat on the floor, shoulder stays flat on the floor. Taking that top hand, pushing down hard as we can, and releasing. That's it. I notice all the movement is coming from my shoulder. Elbow and shoulder stay on the floor. Applying pressure down. I hold this for about 20 to 30 seconds. Do a handful of these. So that's internal rotation of the shoulder. So last stretch that I recommend, you can grab something like a PVC pipe, a towel, a belt, anything like that. So what you're going to do is kind of go back to that back stretch, that back scratch test, pull through, pull down, and lean. Simple enough. Release, pull down hard. Okay? Hold that for 10, 20 seconds. So what I'm doing, I'm pulling down, but I'm also twisting a little bit. Again, like I said, the lat is connected to the shoulder. So give that lat a little bit of stretch. It's going to intensify that particular stretch. So guys, that's a lot of content I just gave to you. But the main thing is you got to test your shoulder flexibility. Another way you can test your shoulder flexibility to see if you're going to encounter any types of problems, answer this 4-question quiz right now. So what you need to do is click the link, punch in your email. We're going to give you that quiz to take right now. If you're on a mobile device, you can't click the quiz or the link to the quiz, but what you can do is click the little arrow under this video here. That's going to open up the video description. That top link you see there, criticalbench.com/ in capital letters FMSP. Click that link to gain access to this quiz. Subscribe to our channel just because we got a whole bunch of other great content all about shoulder mobility and mobility in general. Guys, again, subscribe, watch our videos, it will help you. If you have a question about this video or anything else, guys, post your comments and questions below. Love to help you out as best as we can. Guys, thanks for watching. Share us with somebody. Give us a thumbs up. But guys, again, thanks for watching. See you soon.